What will America's next target be under an Obama presidency? Sources close to Emmanuel say that he has a Zionist obsession with Iran. Um, this is my first encounter with Rahm Emanuel, and I would say that Obama has done a smoke job on him. I would say that Obama has fooled him big time. Because Obama believes the exact opposite, and Obama will do the exact opposite. Just remember the words of LBJ when somebody asked him, "Why did you appoint so-and-so, your enemy, to a position in your government?" And I've forgotten who that person was, but I remember LBJ's reply. And his reply was, "I would rather have him inside the tent pissing out than outside pissing in." I believe that's what Obama has done in regards to Rahm Emanuel. Rahm obviously is not very bright. Rahm Emanuel is obviously not very bright. That's my first impression. I've just now encountered Rahm Emanuel. I've just now encountered this blog or whatever it is called American Free Press. I found it at random by Googling the name Rahm Emanuel. To get a final idea of what we're dealing with, back to the blog, consider this quote from U.S. war journalist Pat Dollard. "Let me tell you right now, no exaggeration, Rahm Emanuel is the devil. He is a Goebbels, a Mengele, a perfect Cromwell who would, without the faintest evidence of hesitation, washing across his face for even a millisecond, order and even personally execute each and every human being he or Obama perceived to be an enemy of the regime. And if you ever personally offended him, and he had the opportunity to kill you, he would probably do it by starting with your children as you were made to watch. He is a bad guy." Some researchers have gone so far as to claim that Emanuel is the notorious mega spy deep inside the Clinton administration who passed top secret documents about Iran onto the Israeli government, causing a great deal of chaos among the various intelligence agencies. Be very wary of this man. Like the Prince of Darkness, Richard Pearl and Michael Chertoff before him, both of whom hold dual U.S.-Israeli citizenships, it may well be proven that his loyalties rest more with a fabricated little state in the Middle East than they do with us. These are the words of American Free Press. It seems like a leftist blog. The left doesn't like Rahm Emanuel. I believe that Obama has wisely taken this fool into the tent, into the camp, and pretended to give him a position of authority. I don't believe such a charade could last very long. Definitely not longer than a month. Victor Thorne is a hard-hitting researcher, journalist, and author of many books on 9/11 and the New World Order. I would assume at a glance that Victor Thorne is a royal ass idiot, because his books include 9/11 Evil, The Israeli Role in 9/11, and Phantom Flight 93. So I can pretty well conclude that American Free Press, or at least this particular article, is less valuable than bovine excrement. Join the revolution, it says at the bottom. Get the book today. Click here. Join the revolution. Well, it's just an advertisement, but it gives you a clue as to who the readers might be. The next advertisement is 3.5-hour classic DVD exposes how the bankers manipulate the creation of money to control the nations of the world. So this is a leftist site, but these leftists pretend to be conservatives. These leftists pretending to be conservatives are trying to scare you about Rahm Emanuel. Why are you having difficulty understanding current events? Well, it's like this. Imagine a patrolman, a traffic cop, being sent to a domestic disturbance between a man and his wife, or a man and his girlfriend. They're quarreling, and they each have a different accounts of events that occurred. You are unable to make sense out of it. You don't know what the truth is. Imagine that you're a minister, a priest, called to provide counseling for a troubled marriage. The man and the wife tell completely different stories of events. Suppose you are an investigator sent to determine the cause of an accident or a death, an accidental death in the military. And you interview 5 people who tell 5 different stories of what happened. Or that basically these 5 witnesses have 2 or 3 different versions of what happened. And you are left wondering what really happened. If you look at current events in this light, you will see that the failure to grasp the truth is not exactly your fault. It's the reality that you're dealing with witnesses who lie, or witnesses who are biased, witnesses who have their own point of view, their own axe to grind, their own motives, and cannot tell the truth unless they are backed into a corner and a gun placed to their head. They will continue to spout lies because they must. They lie in self-defense. They lie to avoid incriminating themselves. So what you really need to know before you interview a witness, you need to know something about that witness and his motives, and listen to his testimony in the light of that person, his mentality, his character, his motives, and what his interests are. When you read a news article, you really need to know the slant of that newspaper, and or the slant, the spin, that is liable to be applied either consciously or unconsciously by a particular reporter. That's the problem. It's not that you can't grasp current events. The problem is you are dealing with unreliable witnesses. 5 different people can have a totally different perception of what happened in New Orleans in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. If you only heard one of those witnesses, you would probably think, well, now I got it. I understand what happened. Those Negroes were victims of institutionalized racism. They were oppressed, held down, and they finally reached a breaking point. They boiled over, the hostility boiled over, and you can't blame them for looting and killing and burning. They are not at fault. The fault is American society. If you only heard that one account, you might come away knowing that to be the truth. If you heard 3 different accounts, then you would be confused. Then you would think, well, I'm just not smart enough to understand. You're in the same position as that patrolman, or that minister, or priest, or investigator. You've got to know the mindset and motive of the witness. You've got to filter the testimony of a witness in the light of his character, his point of view, his background, his motives, his interests.